Hi guys, welcome back to Heart Talks with Anita Bahal. I hope wherever you are today, you are having a lovely day thus far. And today we are talking about habit energy. So I did show you this book prior, and I just want to read one small paragraph from it. There is a story in Zen circles about a man and a horse. The horse is galloping quickly, and it appears that the man on the horse is going somewhere important. Another man, standing alongside the road, shouts, "Where are you going?" And the first man replies, "I don't know." Ask the horse. This is also our story. We are riding a horse, we don't know where we are going, and we can't stop. The horse is our habit energy, pulling us along, and we have become powerless. We are always running, and it has become a habit. We struggle all the time, even during our sleep. We are at war within ourselves, and we can easily start a war with others. So here am I want to reflect on that many times we have become like this man on his horse, that we are being pulled in many different directions, and we keep running and running and running after different things. Sometimes we ourselves don't know where we are going, and because of habit, a lot of times, just like we are being led by that horse in the story, we are being led sometimes by our mind, sometimes by our friends. But regardless of what it is, we have made our running habitual. We are constantly running, and many of us are not happy. And many of us have formed lots of habits when we were young. And as we grow older, these habits are so ingrained in us that it takes a lot of willpower and strength to change them. And if we want to experience change, we need to start doing a lot of reflection to change these habits. Now, many times we may have the habit of worry, we may have the habit of anxiety, of fear, we may have the habit of swearing, let's say, or cursing, the habit of anger, the habit of always wanting to be right, and so forth. And it's only with self-introspection and self-analysis that we have to realize that, believe me, we are far from the ideal personality. So I did talk about journaling, and I keep saying that. And I ask you, for 1 week, if you have more time currently, or even if you don't have more time that you usually have, take a few minutes every day and see if you have just been living your life habitually. Have you been doing the same exact things continuously, and you are asking yourself, I'm not happy, I'm still fearful, I'm still angry all the time, but I'm continuously doing the same thing because we are stuck in those habits. Now, at the beginning, a lot of us think highly of ourselves. Of course, we have people who also feel very low of themselves. People who have hardly have any self-worth, or hardly have self-esteem, definitely. And in the beginning, no matter who we are, we have to be willing that when we look at ourselves, we have flaws. None of us is perfect, none. In the beginning, sometimes you have to look at the tone in which you talk. You may have to look at the way in which you respond. You will have to look at your different activities, your level of tolerance, your level of determination, your willingness to think of others in a situation, to put yourself in someone's shoes. There'll be so much aspects of yourself that you'll have to look at and face, and it's okay when they come up as not what you thought they were. A lot of times we think we are all loving and we are all wonderful, and then when we start doing our self-analysis, we start to see how we could definitely change. And this is great. The minute you start to see that you have some habits that need to change, that is where change will begin. That is where when you start now taking those reins on that horse and you control that horse. And I'm not saying it in a way of a proud control, but in a control that is out of love for yourself and for others. Now with habit energy, a lot of times as well, because we have developed certain habits that are like very destructive. For example, let's say we have the habit of worry, or we have a habit of always thinking of the worst outcomes. A lot of times, to deal with these habits, what we do is use distraction. Now, for many of us, distractions are many different things. Some of us distract ourselves by running. Some distract ourselves by eating. Some distract ourselves by sleeping. Some distract themselves drinking alcohol. Some distract themselves by drugs. And a lot of times we are unable to see the root problem. So what I want to ask you to do today, and of course I will keep doing this, is to look at some of the things that you do and then go deeper and ask yourself, is this a distraction? Or am I doing this out of self-love? Is it a place of self-love, or is it just to distract myself? So just to share with you a bit of darkness that I had endured after I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I could not deal with the diagnosis. I was very angry. I was sad. Initially, I seemed to be all on board of being a survivor, and then I went in this deep sort of tunnel of darkness, and I couldn't sleep. And this is the first time this had ever happened to me. I could not sleep, and I had begged for some sleeping pills at my doctor, and he gave me some. And I begged for more another time. And what I started doing, I started to take the sleeping pills day and night. So I was creating a new habit unknowingly. Because what had happened, I didn't want to face the diagnosis. I did not want to believe that I had breast cancer. I did not want to deal with what was happening. So I was creating a new habit unknowingly. But at first it was like a distraction from the breast cancer, because when I take the sleeping pill, I would sleep all day and all night. And with time, after probably about taking sleeping pills for about a month, I actually, Safra discovered that I was doing something terrible. And also he spoke to me, and then I started reading up about the negative effects of sleeping pills, and I did just cold turkey stopped it. I realized that I was damaging my own self. And I started to face the reality that I had breast cancer and that I had to face this, and I started to get up day by day and live. And this is where I want to tell you, I'm talking from a place of being there, being in darkness, being in depression, being in facing a hard diagnosis, facing death. And I had to do that self-introspection and self-analysis, and those sleeping pills were a distraction from the breast cancer, but they weren't out of self-love. In fact, they were sabotaging me even worse. It was making the diagnosis worse, because at the end of the day, I would now be addicted to sleeping pills and also still have the diagnosis to deal with. So whatever habits you do have already, and if you are using, so let's say you have the habit of getting angry, and every time you get angry and it's become a habit and you want to deal with that anger, you go to drink alcohol, let's say, or you do like you run for miles and miles, or you just eat a whole set of cookies or whatever. Ask yourself, am I doing this out of a place of self-love or not? And then eventually, because you don't want to create another habit that is negative on top of the other habit that you had. Now, breast cancer wasn't a habit for me, but I was creating another habit that I was sort of unaware of at that time, because I was in my own little world. But today I want you to see, what do you do daily? What do you go to? What are your habits? Start to do some self-introspection. And as you journey along the days and the nights, and you do some introspection, and if you realize, I am doing X or Y or Z, and it's creating a new habit, and it's not out of a place of love for yourself, find something that you can substitute it with. Now, and this is where I want to go back again. So when I had stopped the tablets cold turkey after about a month or so, I would want to think it's a month or probably a little more, I had started to exercise. I started to take courses. I started to daily, and it was very tiny bits, very tiny 5-minute changes daily. And up to now, there are some nights, very once in a way, where I take fairly long to fall asleep. And sometimes I think about that pill. I'm not kidding you. I do think that, I could probably get that pill. Now, I cannot get that pill because I just can't. You have to get a prescription to get sleeping pills, and I just can't. But I have found a way to substitute that thought. The minute that thought enters my mind that I want that pill, I talk to myself and I start either saying a prayer, or I will chant, or I will say Subhanallah, which my husband taught me, or I might say I'm a peaceful soul, I'm a loving soul. And I will say it over and over and over until I definitely fall asleep. So we need to find something to substitute when the thoughts come. As I said, we don't want to be on a horse that is leading us. We want to lead the horse. And we all have habits that were formed from young. Please reflect on your habits by introspection and analysis, by writing down what you see that you do every day, how you react, how you speak, how you treat yourself. And also, please do not try to form new habits to distract yourself from other habits and also form more negative ones. Okay? So I just want to say that we all have challenges. We do. And please make small steps. Each one of us has different challenges. We all do, in some form or fashion. And small changes that are done consistently will bring about huge results, and you will feel more joyful and you'll be more happy. And for example, right now, again, I want to sleep earlier because I'm diving more into how important sleep is. So I'm working on that, going to bed and being there around 10. And I'm also working on not eating late. I notice that once I'm up, I tend to eat late. I want to, not really food, but I want to have some popcorn, or I might start to have a cookie, or I may, just have something extra, and it all adds up, and I don't want to overeat. So I am working on that myself. So I ask you, find different small areas in your life where you can work on, and don't feel ashamed. This is not to put down anyone. Don't feel ashamed. Don't feel self-hate. No. Be proud in a beautiful way. Be grateful that you are able to look at yourself and identify areas of weaknesses, which we all have. And from that weakness, work on it daily to substitute with a new habit out of self-love to create improvement. So have a wonderful day. I hope wherever you are eating healthy, you are doing things mindfully, and continue living from a place of love and light. Have a good day, Anita.